And we're back this time with an old friend. It's another old friend, I should say, Frank Mitchell, who you probably remember from his days as an on-camera meteorologist. Frank, good to see you again, buddy.
You too, Sam. And I don't know about you, but I'm finally getting my haircut today. First time in, months.
I had that happen the other day, and it was terrific. I looked like I belonged in the scene of The Last of the Mohicans.
That's right.
I mean, I was set to go ponytail, but you're Snow White now. I still kind of streaked.
Yeah, well, but when you get to be my age, Sam, you'll get there.
Thanks, Frank. Well, now that I'm at the altar of financial advice, and you have become our resident financial advisor, these are trying times.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care who you are. I don't care where you are. If you're a major business owner, if you're just a guy trying to make ends meet, just trying to get by, everybody's got a set of financial rules they're having to change.
Mm-hmm.
What's the best overall advice you can give them?
Best overall advice is just like people who are staying put in their homes is to stay put in your investments. This is not the time to make changes. Any changes you make now is going to lock in a loss. You need to wait until the market recovers, and it will, it always has. Then you can lower your risk or make any changes. Any change now is going to lock in a loss. All the losses you see on your statement or on the computer is only on a statement or computer. They're not real. They become realized when you sell out of what you paid for at a higher price.
I saw just this morning that the market is inching up, if you will, and oil prices are coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that was the wrong thing to say, but oil prices are on the increase. Both good signs.
Yeah. We're halfway back on. We took about a 30% loss. We're now about a negative 15. So we've crawled back about halfway. So this recovery, here's the rule of thumb, Sam, and this is based on history. The longer it takes to go into a bear market, which is more than 20% down, the longer it takes to recover. This is the fastest bear market we've ever gone into. I anticipate it to be the fastest bear market we ever recovered from.
So you think we'll bounce right back?
Well, let's face facts. If somebody stood in front of the United States right now and said, we found a vaccine, we found a cure, the market will skyrocket. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm talking about the market. I'm not talking about the economy. The economy, you've got major layoffs. That's going to take a lot longer. But investments will recover way faster.
How do we help the fellow out there that can't even afford the price of hamburger? What do we say to them, to the single mother, the single parent? Mm-hmm. And she's trying to make ends meet as best she can. She has two small children, and every day is a challenge, and suddenly she's without a job. What do we do? How do we help them?
Unfortunately, Sam, I'm not the right person to ask anybody how to help them right now if they're not already prepared for something like this. I would certainly say, you've heard of emergency funds where you keep 2 to 3 months of expenses on hand for emergencies, and then put away money that's going to maybe make you 2% or more, so it either keeps pace or does beat inflation. But that's for the next time this happens. And it'll happen again, maybe not a virus, but it happens one out of every 4 years. But for someone who's already in that position now, and you have nothing else to draw on, unfortunately, investments are not going to be the thing to get started right now.
Has anybody ever officially said we're in a recession?
It's really funny, isn't it? People have not officially said that. They kept saying we're going into. Isn't that interesting that you brought that up? I think it's a great point, because you would think we're already at the bottom. I mean, people are going to be hired back now that businesses are open. Yeah. So wouldn't we already be in the recession? We're in the bear market. We know that. So, but that's a really good point.
Young investor, young guy on the street, investing for the first time. Where would you steer him? I know that's going to be unfair in a lot of reasons, but are you going in the past, before this happened, said bonds, get into bonds.
Oh, yeah.
They're safe. Well, where should they look now?
Let me tell you something, Sam. First of all, here's what I tell a lot of my clients, and I also coach new financial advisors with Edward Jones. My favorite car of all time, I've never sat in one in my life, is a Corvette. My whole life I've wanted one. I had pictures on my wall when I was a kid of red Corvettes. I'm waiting until my kids are off my payroll so I can go from my little Mazda to a Corvette. But if right now a Corvette dealership came out and said, all of our Corvettes are selling at half price and you'll never get these prices again for 10 years, everybody who ever wanted a Corvette will go and run and buy one, right? That's exactly what's going on in the market. You've got stock prices right now selling for half the price, and they're probably not going to be at these prices again for 10 years. So you can really make a small investment right now on a good quality stock and really make a good profit when the market returns. And so it's interesting. I've started more small accounts with very little money in the last 2 months than I ever have, because these are new investors, young investors who always wanted to get started. And that's my favorite thing, is to educate new investors.
So this would be the time to put your toe in the water, so to speak.
Right. This is what I love to do, is research stock and give people advice on which stocks to buy. And when the market, about 2 weeks ago, when the market was really low, a lot of people who put money in have now already made a profit. And I was talking to a client today. He's already made $1,000 in the last week alone by buying something when it was super duper cheap. But quality stocks, companies that aren't going to go out of business, they're just taking a hit right now.
Yeah, the blue chippers.
Exactly. You and I talked about that last time.
Yeah, we did. And it's kind of curious to me, too. I have always had, as you did with a car, there's a thing or two out there that I've thought about, you know what, I'd like to get my hands on one of those. Well, I am long past the age of reason, and long past, the thought of even being able to control what I want to get into. So I'm thinking of other things, like I don't want to go anywhere. I just want to sit, take life a little easier. Is this also a good time to be cautious in that sort of spending?
Yeah, absolutely. But we are all naturally, those who have not lost jobs, we all are naturally saving money right now. We're not able to go out to dinner as much or do some of the things we were able to do before. Of course, now things are opening. But like I said earlier when you asked me that question, this is the time to start saving your money and prepare for the next time the market goes down, or next time you may lose your job. Make sure you have 2 to 3 months of expenses on hand. That's the average time it takes in most cases to recover. So, but again, you have any discretionary money, as we say, which is not money that you're going to use to put food on the table, call me, call somebody, see if you can get started in some investing. You start now, you got a great chance of having a nice nest egg when you retire.
One of the things you and I talked about the last time you were on, and it just went away. I mean, when this thing hit, it just went away. There's been no more discussion. But we were just dipping our toes in the water of hamburgers, for example, without any meat.
Yes.
I don't mean veggie burgers per se, but they were producing hamburgers from any number of things, and people loved them. And all of a sudden, you could see these things were going to make a wake. They were going to really get out there and, do a big business. A word. But I got a feeling they're going to come on strong. And now we're starting to see the restaurants note of the fact that meats are a little harder to get their hands on. I just wonder, Frank, and I'm not trying to put your feet to the fire, but I just wonder if we'll see restaurants and that sort of thing start saying, you know what, we're running low on meat, but we have this. You ought to try this. What's your opinion?
My opinion, what's going to happen is the way it's going with meat, they're going to have to raise their prices. And so people who do want to go out to dinner just might be forced to steer away from the steak and get either something that's not maybe a meat substitute or not meat at all. I've tried the meat substitute, and really I put it on a pizza, homemade pizza once. It wasn't that bad at all. It tastes just like hamburger to me. So, yeah, that's what's going to happen is the raising of prices forces people to go elsewhere.
Well, I think before it's all said and done, and before an actual vaccine hits the streets, we're going to see a lot of attitudes change about a lot of things. But the one constant that seems to fuel, and I'm no expert, I'm just as an outside observer, the one constant seems to fuel the market and encourage those with a little extra cash that they might want to invest seems to be the stability of what's always been proven solid in the past, and that gets us back to bonds. But now is like coming out of the Depression, of 29. By the time you got to 35, 34 actually, you begin to see people were investing in things they'd never considered, and they were making a killing.
Yeah, so bonds right now, they're really expensive. It's hard to get a paying bond at a good price. So what happens anytime the market goes down, investors move money from stock to bonds, and when the Fed lower rates, that causes bond prices to go up. So bonds are really hard to get at a good price with a good interest rate. And that's when I was talking to somebody recently. They were saying, oh, when the market went down, I moved my investment from stocks to bonds. Well, basically what you did is you moved your investments from lower priced investments into higher priced investments. And now as the market recovers, you're going to move from bonds back to stocks. You're going to go from those lower priced bonds into higher priced stock. You don't do it that way. It's like I said off the top, you wait until the market recovers before you make any adjustments. So
like what you said earlier, it's foolish to buy into something that's already up.
Right. So what people are doing, I literally have had people say that they want to start when the market's going back up. So in other words, you'd rather pay when the prices are higher than pay now. And so, or people will say, I lost money. Did you sell anything? No, then you didn't lose money. It's like I said, that's only on paper or on the computer. Anytime you sell anything in the whole world for less than what you paid for, you lost money. So why would you sell out of stocks when they're down and buy bonds when they're up? You do that later. Don't do that now.
Buddy, I'm sorry. Get you back down the road, have you come in again, and hopefully in the studio.
Man, I hope so. I'm missing being in front of people again, so I enjoy this opportunity.
Well, we'll get together. And listen, Frank, tell your other half I said, hey. See you.
I will, Sam. You have a good one.
We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back.